Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Neeraj Andres from Tales from the Field, and I'm joined by Andreas Padilla. Hey Andreas, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today, Neeraj. What are we going to talk about?
We are going to talk about Gen 1 migration. The reason why we need to migrate Gen 1 is Microsoft announced 2 years back that we are going to be deprecating Gen 1 and people have to move out by February 29, 2024. This was a hard deadline set by Microsoft, and we, Andreas, you and me, are helping customers to help migrate it out to Gen 1 to Gen 2. So here we are discussing about options to do it, how to do it, and something that we can help you out to do it right ASAP. So go ahead, over to you, Andreas.
Okay, so like Neeraj said, yeah, the announcement was made back in February 2021, and it said, hey, guess what? ADLS Gen 1 is going to be deprecated. And the reason why is that ADLS Gen 2 is the way forward. There's better data management, there's lifecycle management, there's redundancy options. They're building all the latest and greatest into ADLS Gen 2. It's available in all the regions. It's lower costs. It integrates it's seamlessly with all our analytics offerings, Synapse, Databricks, ML Studio, IoT, all of that plugs in really nicely with ADLS Gen 2. It's got service endpoints and private endpoints if you want to wrap it a little bit more in more network security around that. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, there's all the bells and whistles are getting baked into this cake. Now, what else? What do we want to let our viewers know here?
So as a part of the migration, what we came down is we came out with a mind map and then also different options on it, how to do it. One, and we'll share these links also, right? Right after this call, we'll share the links with you guys, what needs to be done. But there are two options to migrate the ADLS Gen 1 to Gen 2. One is the portal migration and one is the ADF migration. What it means by portal migration is if you go to your portal and if you go to your Gen 1 account, right there it will say your account is ready to be migrated to Gen 2. Click here to start beginning your process. And this is a self-guided tool where it will migrate out. This is all described in mind map, which Andreas is going to walk you through.
Okay, let me walk you through a little bit of this. And we have like Neeraj is showcasing right here. We have this mind map, aka.ms/ADLS migrations -mm. It's a little long, but if you look downstairs in the links below, you'll find all the relevant links for for this, for ADLS Gen 1, Gen 2 to Gen 2 migrations. But before I get to the options, like Neeraj is showing us in the portal, ADLS Gen 1 to Gen 2 migrations are just like any other, not just like any, but the same life cycle still, holds. You're going to assess your readiness. You're going to look at your ADLS Gen 1 account. How much data do I have in here? How many applications are pointing to the Gen 1 account? Can I afford downtime? Remember, we'll talk to you a little bit that will tell you, and the documentation tells you that the portal experience will require some downtime. So you'll go through that same life cycle, assess your readiness, prepare to migrate, find out what your choices are to migrate. Are there any tools? Set up a migration weekend, set up a checklist, go through all of those. You're going to do a mock scenario, a proof of concept on a representative data set to see how long it's going to take you to migrate. You'll test that out, practice, 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 and then on game day, you'll go ahead and migrate. Now, let's talk to you a little bit about your options to migrate. Microsoft has made it very easy for you to get off of ADLS Gen 1 accounts. There is the portal experience tool. Now, the portal experience tool, the pros are it's ease of use. You get a button up there, and you click on the button, you consent to the migration, and it will actually give you an estimate of how long it's going to take you and a progress bar for how far along you are in the migration. So ease of use, the speed is there. We're getting 7 to 10 terabytes per second, I think, or no, per hour.
Per hour,
I'm
per hour.
sorry, per hour, 7 to 10 terabytes per hour. That's the benchmark we've seen. And what else do I want you to know about the portal experience? It's a big bang experience. It will move over the ACLs, it will move over the data, it will move over the metadata. It is free. Anything else I'm missing here, Raj?
Uh, yeah, we can go in details, but there are two different types of portal migration also that you need to do, and that should be aware of it. So maybe if you want to just talk on this one.
Okay. Yes. Let's talk a little those two options that you have. You within the portal experience, you get two radio buttons. There's the copy migration radio button and the complete migration radio button. Let me talk to you about the complete migration radio button. What that has is it bakes into the cake a shim layer. What it's doing is that it's any calls that were coming from dependencies, APIs, web services, anything that was talking originally to that ADLS Gen 1 account. If you don't have the time, what that second radio button is doing is buying you time to go and adjust all those dependencies. And sometimes it takes time, but what it's doing is that it's going to redirect those calls that were originally going to and from those dependencies. Now it's going, instead of pointing to ADLS Gen 1, it points it and redirects it to Gen 2. So you have time to go and adjust all those dependencies and don't have to do it completely overnight. Now, the first option, which is the copy migration option, that doesn't have that shim layer. What that basically is doing is taking your data, copying it, validating it, because one of the great things about the portal experience is that it validates the data. Validates it when it grabs the data, does inventory, moves the data, then validates and makes sure everything went from point A to point B. So it will move the data over. Once you're done migrating, it will put that ADLS Gen 1 account back into read-write mode. It will lock the account for the duration of the migration. So you can't cancel out of it. But if you do cancel, it will take 5 to 10 minutes for it to go back to read-write mode. So we've seen that, for users that cancel midway, say, hey, we're going to cancel. Anything else we want to know about the portal experience, Neeraj?
Uh, things to know. This is a website or a blog that Andres wrote it down. Things to know. These are all the stuff that you definitely want to make sure. Particularly, I would definitely say less than 50 million files is the limitations if you have to use the portal migration.
What about any things we want to know about file directory names?
Oh yeah, so file directory names, Gen 1 used to allow you special characters towards the end of it. Gen 2 does not allow to do it. If you are having some errors that are coming up when you're doing the portal migration, you can run that. You can send a mail to us, Andreas or myself, and we can run a report and see what exactly is that file name which is causing it up. There is special reports that we can run on your ADLS Gen 1 and give back to you. One other thing that you want to make sure is your Gen 2 should be a brand new account. You cannot use an existing account. Even though if you have deleted everything in there, it has to be a brand new Gen 2 account. You don't have, you
Never
can't
been
do,
used. Remember that. Never
yes,
been
never
used.
been used. And it has to be in the LRS mode only. After the migration is completed, that's when you definitely can change the redundancies on this account.
What is that? What about ADLA accounts? If I had a Gen 1 account talking with ADLA, Azure Data Lake Analyzer.
So that's a good thought. So ADLA also is getting deprecated or retired by February 29, 2024, same dates, both of them. ADLA does not support Gen 2. So anyway, if you are on ADLA, you will have to migrate to also a different option. There are different options that we have listed up here, and we can talk in later time. But one of them is either using Synapse or Databricks or Spark clusters to use this whole thing. But ADLA definitely also is end of life by 2024.
Excellent. All right, let's jump into Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory, your second choice. Now, big question customers come to always mentioning, they're talking to us and they're saying, I can't have any downtime. I can't have any downtime. If you can't have any downtime and it's set in stone that you can't have any downtime, Azure Data Factory will give you that ability, that flexibility. The other pros about Azure Data Factory option to move over from Gen 1 to Gen 2 is the ability to pick and choose if you're bringing over your ACLs, so you can be choosy. You can shrink your data set. You don't have to move everything over. You can say, I only want to bring these folders in these containers. And you can do cross-region migrations, which is great. With the portal experience, that ADLS Gen 2 account has to be in the same region. We do have some great templates for you that are on the GitHub repo at aka.ms/ADLS migrations. That repo has all the information you need. The mind map has everything you need, all the information you need, and the blog post that Neeraj, myself, and Montashaw helped write that has everything you need. There are templates for lift and shift, incremental copy, bidirectional sync. What those their PowerShell templates, what they'll do is they'll load a seedling Azure Data Factory pipeline into a brand new ADF instance, and then you can go in there and start to adjust it and mold it to your liking. You're gonna have to do a little bit of tweaking there, but it sets up your baseline, what you need to know for what you need to get an Azure Data Factory pipeline, migration pipeline working. Other things I want you to know is for Azure Data Factory, the best practices are in the documentation, in this mind map. Make sure you're using copy parallelism. Make sure you're using the correct data integration unit settings. All that is documenting for getting better performance out of your Azure Data Factory migration pipeline. A couple of things that I do want you to know, last things, is that small files will add latency in both ADF and in the portal experience. Small files, add latency. You got to, if you have a million files, I got to go open up a file, read it, move it, open up a file, move it, read it. And that goes on and on. If you can consolidate information into bigger files, you'll get better performance. That's actually one of the bigger items that I see, in Neeraj. We're talking to customers and we talk to them and they say, hey, this is really slow. What can we do? Well, we look at their Azure Data Factory instance, their settings, we look at the files and their footprint. And then we notice, wow, you got a ton of small files. And then we ask them, can you consolidate them? If not, then they're pretty much left living in the world of, having, just working through it and moving all the small files over. Last thing, anything I'm missing with Azure Data Factory, Neeraj?
No, you covered up most of the stuff on the Data Factory.
Okay. We do have some great sessions coming up. Talk to us, Neeraj, about the FTA Live session.
So as Andres and me said, right, we belong to the Fast Track team. We do every month on fasttrack.azure.com/live. If you go in there, ADLS Gen 1 to Gen 2 migration. This is every month. The next one is on February 28th. At 10:30 EST, 7:30 PST. We are going to go step by step, and this is a live session, so you can ask questions right in there, asking us what or any issues that you have. We also, if you are migrating to Gen 2 or from Gen 1, you can always reach out to Andreas and myself, who can sync up and help you out to migrate it out during the whole process. We belong to the Fast Track for Azure team, and you can definitely reach out on the Tales of the Field also, or up here, anywhere you can want to reach out to us.
One more thing I want to jump in there, Neeraj, before we go, is lean on that migration portal experience. That is the tool we're pushing all our customers, the ease of use, the speed. Lean on that. Last thing is that February 2024 is a hard date, so there's no exceptions. If you do not move the ADLS Gen 1 account, you'll lose it 30 days after February 2024. It's not our data. We can't keep it. You have to move the data over. Jump into those sessions. Reach out to the ADLS migration team. We're here to help. What else we got? Anything else we're missing?
I think we covered up all the stuff, and definitely helping out. And see you soon from Tales from the Field.
See you all.
See you. Bye.